see if there's anything else. Believe it or not, I actually have 2 movies to talk about, and then.
Oh, you do.
So
I got 2 movies to talk about too.
Well, let's see which. We'll see which movies we actually have to talk about. Now, what 2 movies have you got that you want to talk about right here? I'm trying to actually set up a little separation here so I can divide this video up, so I can get one out today, get one out tomorrow about the movies, and then see what happens from there. So,
I got.
What you got?
D5 Bloods.
Never heard of it.
And Artemis Fowl.
Never heard of it. No, actually, I've heard of it, but I don't care. Anyway, go ahead and tell me about D5 Bloods.
Alright, well...
I think you'll actually like mine, but go ahead.
Alright, well, good, because I didn't like mine. First off, D5 Bloods is the new Spike Lee movie on Netflix.
That's right.
The trailer is really interesting. It's about these 4 African-American Vietnam vets who go back to Vietnam to recover their friend's body and bring it back to the United States. But you also find out that there's a little bit more to it, because apparently they were all sent to that one certain area in Vietnam to recover a thing full of gold. But they got ambushed and they decided to bury their buddy and the gold and just tell the United States that they didn't find no gold. It's not based on a true story. It seemed like it was a good idea at the time, until I watched the movie. I have nothing against any of the actors, nothing against Spike Lee. But this is a really hard movie to watch, and it's not because of the war scenes of Vietnam. It's just he every time they had to tell a story about what the, with politics and everything, they had to show real pictures of things that went on in Vietnam. That was really hard to look at. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And there was this thing he also did that also messed me up, was instead of using young actors to portray the older actors in Vietnam, they just kept them the same. So it's like you have them now, and then they're still the same, gray hair and all, portraying themselves in Vietnam. The only difference is that there's an extra person there that has died. That shouldn't be there. That messes you up a little bit. If you love a good, I don't know, dramatic movies, you might like this one. I just felt it's storming outside. Sorry about that. But
we have a boom mic.
Yeah. But it's just a really hard movie to watch. It's okay. It's not the best movie in the world. It's just not one of those things I would watch again. So,
there are a bunch of those.
Yeah.
So if on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being you would pay full price or for a primetime matinee and get the extra large popcorn, the extra large soda, and just enjoy yourself, and 1 being you wouldn't even watch it on free broadcast TV, where would you put D5 Bloods?
Which number is watching it on TV?
1.
1.
For free?
I give it a 1 because it's not theater worthy. It's nothing special. Like I said, the trailer made it look special. It drug me in. I was like, I can't wait to see that.
Because Spike Lee does not make the trailer.
Yeah.
Spike Lee does this a lot. He is a talented filmmaker when he wants to be. I actually like the touch of using the original actors in both time periods, so you can tell who's who. Yet there's no confusion. I actually like that. Of course, I like 1917 too, where it was the continuous take.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But first off, you got to understand, Spike Lee was the original social justice warrior, according to him. Anyway, he's doing this thing on Vietnam, so he has to portray the military guys, the veterans, as being, greedy, because they're actually looking for gold as well as their friend's body.
Yeah.
and then in order to keep his social justice street cred, has to show atrocities from Vietnam in order to maintain his cred.
Yeah.
And third, Spike Lee is an obnoxious asshole who needs to give me my name back. But anyway.
Yeah, I give that movie a 1.
Here, I've got news of one that you might like. This is actually coming out June 18th to DirecTV. Don't ask me why. This is premiering on DirecTV on June 18th. It's going to appear on video on demand starting July 17th. Okay. So it'll start showing up other places then. This is called Ghosts of War. Have you heard of this one?
I saw the trailer this weekend, and it looks, I mean,
This is one of those things, like D5 Bloods. It's a war movie. Here's what the concept itself has everybody kind of skittish about it because they don't know how they're going to handle it yet.
But I don't know why.
The idea is you've got a World War II unit that goes into a mansion. The mansion is haunted by victims of the Holocaust. This is still during World War II, so the Nazis are still running around. So it seems like an incredibly awesome idea, the World War II veterans having to deal with the ghosts of the Holocaust. But from what I'm seeing, the ghosts of the Holocaust seem like they're kind of the bad guys here and are victimizing the GIs who had nothing to do with their deaths. And so, of course, now, unless the Nazis are the ones who take it in the teeth, then it's not woke. It's one of those things that sounds like a really intriguing idea, and even if the Nazis don't wind up taking it in the shorts, I would be willing to give it a try, because it does seem like an interesting idea. But I've also been studying World War II since about the age of 12 when I first found out about it. So yeah, this one's kind of a sensitive subject right here. To portray anybody who died in the Holocaust as evil is not going to sit well, needless to say.
I mean, you don't know for sure.
Yeah, we don't know for sure yet. Now, like I said, this comes out June 18th, which puts it on Thursday, this coming Thursday, because we're recording this on June 14th, 2020. We'll know then. Maybe next week we'll be able to talk a little bit more about it, because if there will be a poo storm, it will happen Thursday, Friday, Saturday in time for us to do the next.
Right.
Sounds like we're getting hailed on.
Yeah, it looks
right
like
here,
it. Yeah, it sounds like hail.
But anyway.
But I want to say, like, with that, I'm not into horror movies. It has to really, really be good and interesting for me, because usually horror movies are always the same. This really caught my interest because this has never been done before. I cannot think of one movie that has actually done this.
The concept should be more along the lines of a suspense movie than a horror movie.
I'm okay with that.
Because when it comes to ghosts are not supposed to be able to affect things in the tangible realm that easily. Maybe like suggesting that a candelabra fall from the ceiling or something, or a chandelier should fall from the ceiling. But it's one of those things where just the suspense. There's two ways to go about this. The ghosts could be haunting the GIs, which would make it more along the lines like a straight up terror movie than we talked about the difference between terror and horror movies before. But what if the GIs are being subjected to how the ghosts died? Because something you got to remember, while it was publicly known about the concentration camps, it wasn't until the war was almost over, it was in the dying days of the war, that all the Allies found out just how horrific these concentration camps really were. They didn't know. They thought it was like prisoner of war camps, where you got your like Hogan's Heroes, basically. You got your chocolate bars and mail from home. And, yeah, you only got it like once a month, but still you get it. No. Concentration camps are nothing like that, okay? Please don't go looking it up. You're just going to ruin your day. If the soldiers get exposed to this, because like I said, it's not common knowledge how bad it was at the time this would be set, then all of a sudden you got a far more intellectually stimulating suspense film. Especially if these ghosts are not dead yet. If the Holocaust victims are still alive, like in a nearby concentration camp, can the GIs see what's going on? They see what's happened. Can they stop it? That, I think, would be an interesting story. But that's probably not the story. I'll take the story that I'm getting. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm totally hooked. I can't wait for it.
It's one of those times where I just get really excited about what seems like a creative concept. Usually I get let down. Sometimes I don't. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
So, you've got a movie you wanted to talk about. What's your other movie?
Alright, my next movie is Artemis Fowl. It is the second movie that was supposed to be released in theaters, but instead went straight to streaming service. It's right behind Trolls. The movie was supposed to come out sometime this summer, but they just said put it on Disney Plus. Artemis Fowl is, of course, based off of a series of books. I'm going to try to explain this to you. Okay, the best I can.
It's not Harry Potter.
This
it's Harry
movie,
Potter, but it's not.
It's Harry Potter meets Spy Kids. Now, the movie has fairies, trolls, and all other mystical creatures. For some reason, Artemis Fowl's father is supposed to have kept the peace between humans and these magical creatures, except humans don't know nothing about these creatures at all. They don't even know that they exist. So I don't know what peace he's actually keeping. He's also been accused of stealing an object that can control something that they never really made clear. The bad guy captures Artemis Fowl's father, wants to know where the device is. The fairies are after Artemis Fowl's father because they want the device, but apparently they knew where the device was all along. So his son is now have to take control and free his father and all this other stuff. The only thing is nothing in this movie made any sense whatsoever. Like, seriously, nothing made sense. They have magical objects, and you're trying to figure out, how does that work? Like, at first it did this, but now it's bringing this person back to life. How is that even possible? You don't even explain what this thing does. The device that is supposed to do all this stuff, Artemis finally gets it, and somehow magically transport his father from where he's being kept at to home. Like, wait, how? Like, how did that happen? They didn't say that could happen. They didn't mention that could happen at all. They just said that they needed it to prove that his dad did not steal it. What happened to that? It's really confusing, and it's really boring. This movie is not one of those movies that you can sit down with your kids and literally watch, because the kids be like, what? It's not Harry Potter. It's trying to be Harry Potter, and it's trying to be Spy Kids, and maybe a little bit of Percy Jackson.
And failing miserably on all counts.
Failed horribly. Even the kid makes no sense at all, because he just literally sits there and he never makes an emotion or nothing. He's like, we have to do this. We have to save my dad. We have, like, who talks like that? It's like you're a robot. This movie is horribly made. The only thing about this movie that I did like was that the elves or fairies, whatever the fairies, can stop time so they can whoosh in there, erase people's minds, do whatever they want to, and whoosh back out. That was actually pretty cool. But when they did that in the big fight sequence, you didn't understand because the barrier that stopped time was breaking, and it started to suck up any fairy that it was near, and you thought that they were dead. But then it sucked up the main characters, and all it did was whoosh them around and throw them out. And it's like, I don't know. This movie was just...
Scale of 1 to 5.
1. Artemis Fowl's a 1. Don't waste your time watching that movie. Sorry.
Welcome to the wonderful world of bad children's book writing.
It was horrible.
Bad children's movies from bad children's books.
But you know, I was actually thinking, before I even saw the movie, like, of all the Disney movies that is coming out, you had Mulan and there was something else. And then you had Artemis that was all supposed to come to theaters, but they picked Artemis to go straight to the streaming service. And I was like, well, that's weird.
Now you know why.
And now I know why, because he wouldn't have made no money in the box office at all. It was horrible. It was a mess.
It's one of those properties where it's almost formed by committee. Because I don't know who writes Artemis Fowl. I don't care.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Whatever the name of the poor sucker who wrote Artemis Fowl, this is one of those things. We got to have an elf in it. We got to have a fairy in it. We got to appeal to kids on these things because kids are stupid. That's what this time. That's the real problem with this movie. Okay.
If they like magic.
Compare. Oh, I don't know if I want to go here or not. Compare classic Doctor Who with this film. Okay. And I'm talking about the old school Doctor Who, like the first, second, third, fourth ones. Okay. The ones where they had the robot canine, they had the companions, they would fly around in the TARDIS and stuff.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Let me stop you right there. Okay.
Yes.
I would not even put this movie anywhere near Doctor Who.
I'm making a point here, so shut up. Now, that Doctor Who, here's the thing, Doctor Who was always supposed to be a kids' show. This was the British kids' show. Okay?
Wow.
From the beginning, it was supposed to be for kids. Now, it's gotten far, far, far afield. Nothing from the reboot on has really... I really wouldn't recommend young children watching any of the modern stuff. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a little bit too smart.
They did compare and contrast Artemis Fowl with classic Doctor Who. Classic Doctor Who expected kids to know basic chemistry. You got to know. You inhale oxygen. You exhale carbon dioxide. Why are we feeling faint in here? There's not enough oxygen. They didn't explain what oxygen was or why it would be low or high or what it is. They expected kids to know these things. All this stuff going on, they treated kids' intellects with respect. They didn't say kids were smart. The kids were growing in experience, and part of the experience was Doctor Who being introduced to new concepts, new ideas, and assimilating them. You got to be careful with the word assimilate in Doctor Who. Assimilating these new ideas into their own thoughts and stuff. So that's what Doctor Who was for, and as a result, they treated their kids with respect, and because they treated kids with respect, they had slightly more adult themes than like you would find on Sesame Street or something like that. This was designed, just like Are You Afraid of the Dark was designed for tweens, kids between 11 and 13, 14. Doctor Who was designed for kids like 9, 10, 11, 12, who were just starting to, they wanted an adventure of their own. They would see Doctor Who and they'd be like, whoa, I could get into this. The companions were there to serve as almost like an assistant, a teaching assistant, to help the kids understand what was going on. They were the teacher, the companions were the idiots, and so Doctor Who had to explain to the companions, so if there were any kids who didn't understand what was going on, they could hear that and they're like, oh, okay, I get it, move on. Yeah, and the companion's an idiot. So that's what that is. That's what happens when you treat your audience with respect compared to what you saw with Artemis Fowl, where you don't treat the audience with respect, and that is universal. It's not just among kids. It's among all creative projects. If you don't treat your audience with respect, you're going to wind up getting 1-star reviews. And you're going to go straight to video.
There was just so much there that they never explained. Like, Judi Dench plays the chief of the fairies or whatever. She was important. She was in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed this one guy who was working for the bad guy that was in prison, but then was let out by the bad guy, and then shows up and starts taking over the fairies by, like, being in charge. And it's like, he's in prison. He was in prison, and nobody's saying, how did he get out of prison? Or what did he do to get into prison? It's like, now we're following his orders? Like, you didn't explain that at all. Just like the device. It's like, I finally got the device. And then all of a sudden, I want my dad back. And then the dad shows up. Like, nobody told me that that's what it could do.
Again,
unless I missed it somewhere.
Again, not respecting your audience.
The boy picks up a gun that belongs to one of the elves. Knows how to use it. I mean,
Elves with guns.
Yeah, they got guns.
That's
like laser blasters, pretty much.
Now wait, I would actually watch that movie. Elves with guns, I would so be there.
The elves were actually pretty cool. Actually, well, I'm sorry, I keep saying elves. Fairies. They were fairies. I don't know why I keep saying elves.
Same diff.
Fairies.
Elves with wings.
Yeah.
Airman elves. Okay. All right. So, one more movie to talk about here. This is coming up, and I'm surprised you haven't brought this up yet. Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Of course.
See the big beaming smile on his face. Let me they released the first theatrical trailer. Let me explain what this movie is about. Okay. So last we saw Bill and Ted. The idea is Bill and Ted, their band, the Wild Stallions, spelled with Y's for God's sake. Wild Stallions. They were supposed to be recording the song that would turn all of Earthkind into a utopia. The entire Earth, all culture would be a utopia because of this one Wild Stallion song. Well, 25 years after their initial movie, they still haven't written the song. Now they're both middle-aged and going on their merry way. Hey, when the time traveler shows up and says, guys, you still haven't written the stupid song. We can't have a utopia if you don't write this song. And so what Bill and Ted realize is, one, this guy came from the future, right? Right. Remember, this is Beavis and Butthead material we're talking about here, okay? This guy came from the future. This guy came from the utopia in the future, which means we must have written the song at some point, rather than try to make this song up ourselves because we don't know what it's supposed to be like. We don't want to be this band anymore. We'll go to the future and we'll steal our song from ourselves. That's not really stealing, right?
Not if we steal it from ourselves.
Not if they steal it from us. So that's what the whole movie's about, and that's all you need to know. Keanu Reeves is slumming it with Alex Winter again. So, go ahead.
Yes. I'm excited, honestly. I've been waiting for this for a very long time.
There's been a lot of people waiting on this for a very long time.
I mean, the fact that this... I mean, heck, even Keanu Reeves actually said in one of his interviews years ago, he said that he had an idea for another Bill and Ted movie, and he really wants to do it, but he can't find nobody that would actually, I guess, pay for it, or actually give the rights to do it, or whatever. I don't know. But it's awesome. I can't wait. I've been waiting for a long time for it.
So that might be fun. So.
If you guys have never seen Bill and Ted, if you love goofy, funny, don't take it serious type of stuff, you know, watch it. If you don't like that type of humor, then that Dumb and Dumber type of humor, then yeah, skip it. But it's awesome.
Damn it. I think I've seen the first Bill and Ted movie. I know of the second movie, but it's just... Actually, I'm trying to think the name. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
And then this would be Bill and Ted Face the Music. So that's exactly what I know about Bill and Ted. Y'all enjoy yourselves. You have fun. I still remember the cartoon that was on CBS Saturday mornings back in the day when they had cartoons on Saturday
When
mornings.
they had good cartoons on. Good cartoons.
What can I say? I remember it. I think it premiered right across from ABC's Ghostbusters. The real Ghostbusters. They were doomed from the start. Anyway. So Annie, you got anything else you want to jump into before we wrap this for the week?
No, I got it.
You're all done. We got all kinds of news. We got movie reviews out this week. Maybe I can actually get out an episode that's under 10 minutes. But I do want to say one more thing before we go, okay? Remember last week when I was complaining about Pluto TV showing me big farty ads?
Yeah.
Okay, now, YouTube, I watch YouTube on Roku, okay? And I tend to watch longer videos and stuff. Videos about the length we do, usually about 20, 30 minutes, something like that. YouTube has taken to splitting up the longer videos and interrupting to play commercials in the middle of these things. You can still skip the ad after 5 seconds, but they're sneaking more and more ads into these things. Like every 7 or 8 minutes you got another ad. So imagine my surprise when I'm trying to watch like a 25-minute video and I get a commercial interruption for Big Farty. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what it's
Big
called.
Farty.
Big
Farty. Pervy. Whatever it was called. Big Farty. It's followed me onto YouTube, so now I have a good idea who is doing that. I'm also having fun right now. I've got a project going on right now. I'm actually enjoying myself. Now, understand, online you get targeted ads, right?
No.
Unless you take very specific steps to clear your cache every once in a while, get rid of your cookies, travel in protected mode and all this other stuff, get one of the VPNs, stuff like that. Anyway, so for some reason it's been showing me, now it had been showing me ads for Amy McGrath for a while now. She's that faker from who used to be a colonel in the U.S. Air Force or something, and she's just determined she's going to beat a Republican in Kentucky for something. She wasn't able to do it for governor. She wasn't able to do it for representative. By God, she's going to do it against Mitch McConnell. Yeah, okay. Now, so just for the fun of it, I said, I'm going to teach Amy McGrath a lesson. Because before then, I had actually been closing windows. Amy McGrath video would show up. If I couldn't skip it, I would actually shut down the app so I wouldn't have to see it. I went ahead and clicked on it this time. So I clicked on it and I cost Amy McGrath money. Now every time I see an Amy McGrath ad anywhere, I click on it. That opens up a new window where her stuff loads. As soon as I see it start to load, I close the window. So I know it cost her money. And it cost her backers money. So now I'm getting all these ads, all these targeted ads for like far left-wing stuff, okay? That should tell you how appropriate Amy McGrath is for this area, okay? But so now I'm getting all these, and I'm clicking on them. And I'm waiting until their page starts to load, and then I close it so I cost them money. Because now they're having to pay Google all this money because I gave them a click-through. So they have to pay for that. And that's not like 10,000 click-throughs for a penny. That's like 25 cents every time you click and that thing starts to open. You just cost them a quarter.
Huh.
So for all of you folks online who are sick and tired of all the political stuff as I am, click on every political ad. Cost your opponents as much money as possible. and let's see if we can't drive them all bankrupt by July. They should all be flat out of cash by about July, maybe early August, so that September, October, November, we can actually watch TV without fear of having to see this crap.
Wow.
So, just my little bit of subversion. So,
wow.
So you got anything to put on top of that, big boy?
I mean, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that they actually have to pay money to do that. So that's actually good to know. That's good to know. I just wish I could figure out, like, why every one of my social medias is telling me the same thing. Like I told you about the cruise and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked that up like Friday, and now it's on Facebook.
Yep.
And
exact same thing.
YouTube, and it's like, what the hell?
Like I said, I just clicked on that Amy McGrath thing earlier this week. Now all I'm seeing is far left political ads.
It's like,
and I'm costing them all money. So I'm quite happy to do that, knowing they will never convince me to vote for them. So they're wasting their money, but they are convinced that this is a good way to waste their money. So, but yeah, you may want to start clearing your cookies. I may have to start doing classes again on how to do this, with how to clear your cookies, how to clear your cache.
It took me forever to figure out what a cookie is. Like it says, check your cookies, and I'm like, I'm not eating no cookies.
Yeah. Welcome to the 21st century, Christopher. Until next time, I'm Spike.
I'm Chris.
That is Chris. And this has been the Spike and Chris Show. We're going to get the heck out of here because I guess the storm finally stops and now you can actually hear us. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, of course, right?
Exquisite timing as always. Ta!
Ta!
Ta, y'all.
Ta-da!
Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.